Hello there. You're listening to Shaff Dives You Crazy podcast.
Welcome to Shaff Dives You Crazy, where we explore the depths of the diving world. And today we are diving into the vibrant waters of Perhentian Islands, Malaysia. My guest today is Anand Chandrasekaran, who is a PADI Course Director and founder of AntiGravity Divers in Perhentian Islands. With 20 years of diving and 17 years of teaching experience, he is passionate about instructor development, CCR diving, and exploring overhead environments. Known for his realistic teaching style and focus on deliberate skills practice, Anand joins us to discuss dive education, the innovative Avelo system, and give a preview of Avelo Unveiled, an event hosted by AntiGravity Divers. With mighty Malaysia International Dive Expo just around the corner, it's the perfect time to talk about the future of diving. So gear up as we embark on an underwater adventure with Anand. Hey, welcome to the show, Anand.
Thank you very much, Shaff. It's good to be here.
Can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself first?
As you mentioned, I'm a PADI Course Director, and so mainly my full-time job right now is teaching dive instructors in Malaysia and Thailand. So mainly the Perhentian Islands and in Thailand on Koh Lanta on the west coast. And I'm also the owner of a dive center on the Perhentian Islands, but I don't handle the management for that. So my partner handles the day-to-day operations for that dive center.
So that's Anti-Gravity Divers, is it?
Correct. Yes.
How did the name come to be? And what's the story behind it?
Gravity. Okay. Anti-gravity came actually from it's. So I was looking for a name for my dive center, like I don't know, about 18 years ago now. 18 years ago, and there's one of my favorite bands at the time. It was they're called Incubus, right?
Yeah.
Incubus had an album in the 90s, and they had a song called the Anti-Gravity Love Song,
Yeah.
and this was one of my favorite songs. And so I thought, okay, this is an amazing name for a dive center.
Nice.
So that's how it came about. Yeah.
Coming from a band, a song from a band,
Yeah.
it's really
And
cool.
correct, and it's very appropriate as well. Appropriate name.
Yeah, it sure does seem appropriate. And how is your experiences in Koh Lanta? How did your experience in Koh Lanta influence the operations and ethos of anti-gravity divers in Malaysia?
So I actually, even though I'm Malaysian, born and raised in Malaysia, I actually started my first dive center in Thailand, in Koh Lanta, mainly because I was I got into diving like full time in around like 2007. Yeah, 2007. I did my dive master course in 2007 and decided after that I was gonna do it full time basically, and then became an instructor the next year, and spent sort of 2 years freelancing around in Malaysia before I decided. So I had basically my best friend. He at the time had a resort in Koh Lanta, and he was like, "Hey, why don't you come up here and join me, and we can open a dive center together?" And that's what I did. And so after 1 year of running the place together, he decided to uh, to pull out his partnership to focus on other things. And I was left on my own, and I kind of decided, okay, let's move forward and go on. And I sort of built decent, operation in Koh Lanta for about 10 years after that until COVID. And so COVID came about, and so it was 2 years of no, I mean, you know how it was.
Yeah,
And also because the operation cost in Koh Lanta is quite high. So it's not as though we can just close down and not have any running costs. There was still, we were still running operation costs because of the boat. So we in Koh Lanta, the nature of diving here is we have big boats here, so very much similar to liveaboards but day boats. So
okay.
the cost of maintaining these boats are very high. So if it's, if you're not running them, it's just racking up costs. And after 2 years, I decided, okay, enough is enough. I sold off my boat and closed down the operation in Koh Lanta, but still maintained the one in Malaysia. My dive center in Malaysia, I opened that in 2015 with a few other partners. Um, yeah, who one of which was actually my course director during my IDC when I did it in 2008. So he's now my operations manager on Perhentian, and I'm the course director. So we kind of switched roles. I was doing management of dive centers for 10 years, and I kind of had enough. COVID came around, and I decided, okay, it's time for a role change. So I decided to focus on diving and training, basically. So and I haven't looked back since, and I'm really enjoying it right now.
So do you enjoy management side or training side?
Uh, I mean, I right now I'm happy not managing a dive center. I can tell you that. Yeah. I was quite happy the first few years of doing it. It's a joy to see a company grow and to see um, you know to see a company take shape from its origin to from zero beginnings. It's nice, but then after a while it gets tedious and the same. And I mean, I'm still involved in the company in that I still reply to emails. So I still do a lot of the correspondence with customers and all that, but day-to-day operations I'm not really involved in so much.
Okay. How many dive centers are there in Perhentian?
Altogether, so Perhentian, there's two islands, right? One's the big island, one's the small island. In total, I would say there's about close to 30 dive centers.
Okay.
Yeah, at least,
Wow.
yeah, 20 to 30 for sure. Yeah.
And what about the dive sites around? How many?
I would say, like, we go to quite a lot of dive sites. Like, we do, I would say about, I mean, we have access to at least 20 dive sites.
Okay.
I mean, there are some operations that do the same old dive sites, over and over again, but we try to keep it fresh and go to places that are not regularly dived. And I also do a lot of exploration. Exploration meaning there are areas where I'm like, okay, that's not really known as a dive site. Let's go check it out. So I do a lot of that in my spare time. And my next purchase is to get a DPV, underwater DPV, so I can actually do that more efficiently. Yeah.
Wow. Which DPU you're thinking?
I'm looking at, okay, I mean, cost is obviously a factor, and probably the black tip, the one that you can buy from Dive Gear Express. So I was looking at the Swags and the other ones,
Seacraft.
Seacraft, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're great, right? But they're also very costly. The black tip seems to be the most cost effective, and I have my friend Miko, who is he's an explorer, a mine cave explorer, and he's using the
He's a friend of mine as well.
yeah. So Miko has been using the black tip, and if Miko can use something without it breaking, then it's fine.
Yeah, I know. But now he's using Seacrafts. Yeah.
Correct. So they're sponsored by Seacraft now. So yeah.
Yeah, even my project for next year, Across Maldives project is sponsored by Seacraft.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What do you see around Perhentian? What are the main dive sites like marine life and coral wise?
So we have a lot of reef dives, right? So it's mainly reefs, and I'm sad to say at the moment the reefs are being affected by climate change a little bit. This year we're going through a rough patch in terms of coral development, and basically, yeah, coral is dying in certain parts, but then it's like anything. It's they go through a cycle, right? So and we've been through this cycle quite a few times on Perhentian already, where and then it regenerates. Like last year it was amazing, and then this year, yeah, we're seeing some dying coral, and this will go on for maybe 1 or 2 years, and then it will sort of regenerate and grow back. In terms of marine life, it's very varied. We have a lot of a clown anemone fish here, right? So
Hmm.
we have a lot of anemone. I pronounce it anemone. Some people say anemone, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of anemones, but we also actually have the clownfish, the clown anemone fish on them. So the false clownfish rather. So we
All
have a
right.
lot of those, and in some places, like so, we get a lot of people that come to Perhentian and they see the clownfish and they're like, oh wow, that's you actually have clownfish on the anemones, and for us it's like a normal thing.
Yeah.
We have a lot of like bumphead parrotfish is a regular sighting on the dive site. So schools of bumphead parrotfish, large bumphead,
Hmm.
triggerfish everywhere, and we get the aggressive ones here. Maybe very similarly aggressive to the ones in Koh.
The Titans. Yeah.
The Titans, yes, correct. Um, and once in a while we get whale shark sightings. Um, I would say on average about 3-4 times a year, whale sharks come around
Okay.
because they're obviously migrating, from down south, either from Thailand, from we just above us we have Losin, so this migration process happens and they come through Perhentian.
What about sharks? Other sharks?
Yeah, black tips, but yeah, for sure. Like so when I so the funny thing is, when you dive open circuit in Perhentian, you barely come up. You see them a lot snorkeling, right? But diving, you barely come across black tips underwater unless you're really like your head's on a swivel because they swim quite fast, right? And they're quite
Yeah.
shy. Um, but when I do CCR diving in Perhentian, yeah, my God, I come across sharks definitely. Like I'm talking like 6 to 10 of them swarming around me, and yeah. So they are around black tips. Yeah,
Black tips. Okay.
yeah,
You get
yeah.
white tips as well, right? I've seen quite a few photos of white tips in Perhentian.
It's not really known for white tips. In Sipadan, yes.
Okay.
Sipadan in Borneo, yes. Um, but no, we don't get the oceanic white tips or even the reef white tips here.
What about mantas and eagle rays?
We get occasional eagle rays. We have a lot of Jenkins stingrays, the big Jenkins. Mantas, no. Mantas, we get in Koh Lanta. We get mantas in Koh Lanta. Perhentian, what else is unique to Perhentian? We actually, now there's a lot of macro sightings, like
Okay.
frogfish and really cool nudibranches. There's seahorses, and seahorses. We've always had seahorses, but recently more so. Um, yeah, so we have a decent macro sort of population here, but the only thing is we don't really get the divers that are interested in diving macro. We get a lot of newbies here, so we get a lot of people coming to their open water courses, their advanced courses, and and then they go through the. Yeah, we also get to do quite a lot of dive master training on the island in general. Like
Hmm.
all of the dive centers, will get dive master candidates going through, which is great for me because I'm actually the only course director on Perhentian who's active. There is another one, but I'm the active one.
And what about Rex?
We have a couple of wrecks. So there's the Sugar Wreck, which is a big transport cargo ship that sunk naturally during a storm in the year 2000, I think it was, and it was transporting sugar. So hence the name Sugar Wreck, and that is 100 meter long boat, or is it 80 to 100 meters? Oh, sorry, it's actually 150 meters long. It's a little bit broken up, so it's split into two now. So you have the bow and stern is split up. I do a lot of wreck penetration dives, so that's where do rec specialty training, and there's decent sections that you can penetrate. Not long sections, but very decent, as in good for training and good for line laying and all that kind of stuff. And that's the so that's one, and then we've got the Vietnamese rec as well, and then there are a few artificially sunk boats. There's one dive site called the Magnificent Seven, which was originally seven boats sunk close to one another, but now it's like there's only like five and a half.
Which depths are these wrecks at?
Very shallow. So the sugar wreck maximum is 18. I mean, when I say very shallow, I mean shallow, 30, right? So all recreational limits.
Okay.
So sugar rack 18 is the max, and then you have the Vietnamese rack, which is maximum 19 to 21, depending on the size. Some of them, like the Vietnamese rack and the Magnificent Seven, they're more suited for nitrox dives. So for enriched air, like going on air, you're very limited by your no deco time. Yeah.
Since you are a course director and AntiGravity Divers is known for its comprehensive training programs, what range of courses do you offer from beginners to professional levels?
So yeah, everything from open water to so we're slowly trying to position ourselves like this year, especially, and we're trying to do a bit more than what the other dive centers are doing in terms of. So I recently put in a program in place to train up all my staff to be side mount divers and to get them actually diving in side mount configuration, even though even when they're guiding or even teaching. So if they're teaching open water courses, like in confined water, they'll be on the traditional back mount. But then when they do the open water training, to change to side mount. So I want that to be a culture at my dive center, and it's just to generate interest and to yeah. So the side mount diving is taking off. I mean, of course, it's been around for a while, but it's starting to take off in a big way in Malaysia, and quite a lot of people are getting interested in it. So yeah, so I want to do more than what the other dive centers are doing in terms of that, and I want to maybe bring in Tech 40 training next
Mhm.
year.
Okay.
Um, I just need to schedule all these things, right? I can't just it can't be so at the moment I'm the only one that can teach side mount in my dive center. So the whole reason for me getting my staff to dive side mount is so I can eventually train them to be side mount instructors. Um, and then take over me teaching side mount, and then I can move on to do the Tech 40 training. So it just becomes like an ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and scheduling all these courses because of my time. It's I have scheduled IDC, so I have to schedule all these things in between.
So you are only you only teach PADI, or are there any other agencies?
Currently, I'm only PADI, but I'm also a TDI cavern instructor, or will be soon once I submit the application.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did. I'm slowly working my way up to be a TDI full cave instructor, and I'm taking my time with that because it's just I have a lot of things going in between, and that's since I started cave diving, which is like almost 8 years ago. I found a new passion. I love cave diving. Overhead environments is my thing. So I assist on as many courses as I can when I have time. Um, and yeah, so recently did the evaluation to become a cavern instructor. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so from there, move on to the next level, and then I'll probably want to schedule a time in Mexico where I will go and probably do my full case level there. Yeah, I don't know when that will be. Again, I have no deadline for it. I'm just gonna go with when I feel comfortable and ready. And
I did my full cave course in Finland in October 2021.
oh wow,
Yeah,
oh wow,
in
in
cold,
nice.
in the cold. But it was not like caves, it was like flooded mines, but still.
Yeah.
the full overhead.
Is it the Oyamo mine? Is that what they call it?
No, we didn't go to
No.
Oya. We went to Katala and another one. I can't remember which one.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's where I met Miko as well for the
Okay.
first time personally. But before that, we were Facebook friends as well.
Right. How long ago was this?
2021.
Okay. Oh, okay. So during COVID.
Yeah, right after the lockdowns were open and stuff.
Well, lucky you. I kind of lost 2 years of my life during COVID. Yeah, I didn't do anything in 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened to a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I needed to prepare for my 50-hour dive, which was in 2022.
Yeah.
So I needed to do something like extreme. Even though I come from a military diving background, I needed
Yeah.
to do something extreme to prepare myself for that. So I did the cave course,
Okay.
which helped.
Nice. Funnily enough, I personally, even though yes, cave diving is extreme to a lot of people. Like I find myself being very calm in a cave. Like my my sac rate drops. I'm so comfortable, and everything is just better when I'm in a cave.
Yeah, for me too. So I
Yeah,
feel really calm inside.
yeah.
I don't know why. And which rebreather are you using?
So I'm using the dive right chest mount Optima, the Choptima.
Okay. Yeah, chopped him up. Okay, I'm using the Liberty side mount.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know a
pretty
few guys
nice.
here that do it. Yeah.
I like it. I've been trained on a few units, and this is the only one I'd say I'm really comfortable with.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Yeah. I did look at the Liberty, but also cost wise, it's a lot.
it's a lot, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
How do you ensure that your team keeps to the safety standards are upheld? And I mean, during trainings and dive excursions.
So I regularly hold workshops, right? Training workshops for my staff. We have meetings, so I'll kind of so I'm always evolving in how I teach, right? So because I also still teach at the lower levels. I still teach open water courses, advanced rescue diver courses. I don't just teach IDC. So every time I teach a course, I'm always evaluating like, okay, how can that be done better? How can basically right now like the focus like you know yeah, I look back at myself as a new instructor or even an instructor 10 years ago, and I'm like, okay, uh, I look at myself back then and I'm like, okay, like what was going through your mind when you were training divers? Because now because basically, in the PADI syllabus, I know a lot of people there's a lot of PADI bashing going on, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, PADI is this, PADI is that. They're a money maker, put another dollar in. But if you actually sit down and look at the standards in PADI, okay, let's talk about the PADI open water course, right? If you actually look at the standards, like it's actually quite comprehensive in that if you are actually doing everything that you're supposed to do, your divers are going to come out being, you know, proper dive planning. They can plan their own dives. They can execute their own dives. They can dive with a buddy um, without any reliance on the dive master, guides and like, being able to look after themselves and more than just look after themselves, but actually execute dives perfectly, right? Um, so, uh, so this is my main focus is to how to make it. How can people do that? How can instructors do to achieve that in in a time span of 3 to 4 days, right? So, so I'm always looking for ways to improve the way the course is taught. Yeah, and
okay.
it's more about technique than standards are there. Standards are there. You can choose to be the kind of instructor that goes through a checklist and tick 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 tick, or you
Yeah,
can also be the kind of instructor that okay, yeah, okay, yeah, okay, we're ticking off boxes, doing the skills. You make sure that you do it comfortably, but we also spend extra time underwater, actually just diving and swimming and moving around, and and not
Hmm.
just ticking off skills like a checklist and coming up and okay, that's done. And then going down again and doing that, and so yeah. So one of the things I recently started doing, actually not recently, I've been doing this for about 3-4 years now, but I've only just started um, talking about it to my instructors and kind of suggesting it to them that they should do it this way as well. Is that on the last open water dive, is to actually make your students think that they're going to be doing the dive without you, that they are planning the dive themselves, they're actually descending down by themselves. They are, to get them into that mindset that, oh, okay, my instructor's not going to be here on this dive. I'm doing this with my buddy, so I better, you know, I better plan it
Hmm.
properly. I better. So to the extent that I actually, I'm on the boat waiting for them to descend at the surface, and then once they're below water, then I get into my gear and I slowly jump in the water, and I spend the whole dive above them, right? And then they don't know that I'm there. So I'm watching them, I'm watching them check their air, check their buddy's air, and then doing like, okay, now I've reached my turn pressure, let's turn around and come back, and doing the safety stop.
Okay.
So it's very rewarding when you're able to do something like that, right, and achieve that. And it's
Yeah.
rewarding to see it in your students. And yeah,
You have a multilingual team, right?
yeah. So I myself speak Thai, Malay, and English. A little bit of Spanish I'm learning still. Um, and I have a team that, we have a Spanish dive instructor, French dive master, um, and we have a few freelancers that come and go who can speak Chinese, German instructor as well.
And the team vibe is good.
Yeah, team vibe is good this year. I'm very happy with the team.
That's always good. When I managed one of the dive centers in Maldives, I had at the beginning I had a really hard time trying to get everybody on the same page. I had like
Yeah,
8 different nationalities,
yeah,
all
yeah,
sometimes just messing
yeah.
things up. But in the end, after about 6 months, I finally managed to get a good team together who we went on for about 2 years, almost everyone.
I think the biggest thing is guidance. I think like one thing my dive center benefits from is that we have two course directors in house, right? So myself and my partner, and like no, I mean we obviously between us we have a lot of experience. Like between me and my partner, we have 50 odd years of experience. My partner's been diving for 35 years, myself 20 years, and we bring a lot of experience to the table, and it's about it's about guiding our instructors, and if we see something that could be improved, we don't we should not anyway. I'm sorry, I'm guilty of doing it sometimes. I'm guilty of pulling my instructors aside then and then and telling them, okay, maybe you should do this. But so I try to like, so okay, take notes. All right, okay, take notes of what I feel can be improved on or what can be done better. And then we have a meeting, like every now and again. And then I bring up all these points, that I want to talk about. I also give them reasons as to why we want to do things a certain way. So reasons are very important, rather than just saying, do this, do that. I want you to do this, but
Yeah, you
yeah,
have to tell them why it is
yeah,
important. Or
yeah.
your dive center, anti-gravity, is involved in a lot of initiatives, right, for marine conservation.
I would say we lack a little bit in marine conservation compared to a few other dive centers on the island. We could do better in that, I admit. We are trying.
Why do you say you lack it?
Only because these kind of initiatives take a single person or a team to sort of get it going and involved. And we had someone a few years ago, but since then we haven't really sort of found a replacement for a person that can spearhead these initiatives. And I do want to get back into it, for sure. I do. But like we have to find. I actually have a friend who I've been waiting on for a few years, but she's ended up got a job in Australia, work in South Africa. If she listens to this podcast, she'll know who she'll know I'm talking about her. But yeah, so I'm still waiting for her to come back to Perhentian and spearhead this initiative for us. But in the meantime, yeah, we do whatever we can. And one of my like my manager, she's a reef check instructor, so she does that sometimes. Yeah.
And what do you do right now at the dive center for marine conservation?
Right now we do once in a while we do ocean cleanup.
Hmm.
So one of the things I'm trying to do this year, I'm getting these mesh bags that is a very nicely designed mesh bag that you can kind of put on your, like tech shots where you can actually just put it on the side and attach them.
Is it the Indonesian one?
Correct. Yes. So
Yes, I met the guys. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I got one of those in. Yeah, maybe get something similar done, like or or even just I got some mesh bags done last year for dive site cleanups and all that. So that's kind of as far as where we're taking it at the moment, but we do plan to do more. Yeah.
Do you promote it to your students
Yeah.
about the conservation efforts?
Yes. Not on all courses, I admit, but once in a while, yes, it does come around and so mainly dive against debris, right? I don't know if you know this initiative by PADI. So yeah,
Yeah, from PADI.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've been out of PADI since 2018, 19.
Okay, right. So what agency are you teaching in now?
Actually, I was first a PADI instructor till 2011,
Right,
and then no, till 2000. Yeah, till 2011, I was a PADI instructor. I wanted to renew, and I didn't teach for about a year.
right. Okay,
2010, I didn't teach at all because in the military it was more our own courses going on.
hmm,
I didn't teach any courses in the military, and I sent an email for my renewal. I tried to do the online stuff. It
yeah,
didn't accept for some reason. So I sent an email, and the reply from PADI came after about 10
yeah,
days saying, oh, uh, I need to meet a course director
right,
and check if I can do mass clearing, regulator recovery, and all that again.
right.
Uh,
Yeah.
I was like,
Is it to do the actual skills or to actually teach it, to actually perform the teaching?
they didn't say anything
Right. Okay.
regarding that. They just
Yeah.
mentioned that. So I responded saying, I have certified over 500 students and I just
Right.
didn't teach for 1 year. And you want me to?
And just 1 year? That actually is it's very
Yeah, it's nothing actually.
but I know some people who have not renewed for longer than that, and when they want to rejoin, all they had to do was to pay the renewal fee and just go through a online,
Online seminar.
correct, online seminar, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the same day I sent that reply, I met an SSI IT in Maldives. And I told him like this as he said, just cross over to SSI. So I crossed over and then I sent an email to PADI saying I've crossed over to SSI and all that, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I became an SSI IT, but I gave that up again, and now I'm just not attached to any agencies.
All right.
I'm just diving.
Okay. All right.
I just want to enjoy the dives. I'm not much of a
Yeah.
agency fan anymore.
All right. I mean, I wish I can just enjoy my dives too, but I need to. I need to, but actually, to be honest, I really, really enjoy teaching. I do. For me, it's very rewarding, right? Yeah, I feel a passion in what I do.
Yeah, I miss teaching actually,
Yeah,
but right now I just want to enjoy
yeah,
more and do some of these crazy projects that I plan to do.
yeah. Me too. I wish I had more of me to go around or more time in the year. Like I've been planning to go to Mexico for the last 3 years to do cave diving and to basically go and absorb information there and go and dive with basically the most active cave divers, explorers.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I've been wanting to do for the last 3 years, and I'm still waiting for that moment where I can schedule 3 months and go. Probably, now I've told myself, okay, next year is the year. Next summer, next summer I'm gonna do it. This summer is I'm already booked up. Yeah, this year I'm all booked up.
I got two friends who have dive centers in Mexico.
Right. Okay.
Protect,
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, Patrick Widman, and then Dark Side Divers.
yeah. Yeah. So I met Fred Patrick last year in Thailand, in at the mines, the Boyai
Oh
mines.
yeah, you went there?
Yeah, yeah. I was, I've been to the Boyai mines quite a lot, quite a few times. Like I would say at least
Okay,
3, 4 times, 4 times. Yeah, and I try and go there as much as I can, like when I have free time. So my friend Paul, who was one of the so Miko and Paul are the ones that basically Miko was the one that discovered the mine, and then he got Paul involved. Paul basically helped him kind of get the permission, get so basically these two guys are the ones that spearheaded the opening of these mines. And so every time there's a course up there, if I'm free, I'll just head up there. Or if I see Miko, on social media, he's there and I'm free, I'm just like, okay, okay, then I'll drop everything and go if I'm not doing anything.
yeah, Miko has invited me over for a few dives with him, but it's for me right now based out of Switzerland.
Right.
It's a bit far away.
Yeah. Oh, but the mines are amazing. But yeah, these boy mines. So anyway, yeah, coming back to Patrick Whitman. So I met him at the mines last year, and basically, yeah. So like as when the Kiss Sidewinder finally gets released, I will track him down and come and do a course with him and go, oh yeah, wherever he is in the world, and do a course for the Sidewinder too. I did the Sidewinder one.
I think he's in Korea right now.
Yeah, yeah, but nothing's gonna be done until the Sidewinder 2 actually gets released. I did the Sidewinder course with Nico last year.
Okay,
Actually, just before I did my Choptima course, like actually no, yeah, late 2023, I did Sidewinder, and I was very impressed by the Sidewinder. I liked it a lot. It was very easy to dive, and it felt very comfortable. I felt very comfortable with it. I was thinking, okay, this is the unit I'm gonna go with, and then I did the Choptima course a week later with Paul. So in the meantime, I was trying to source a Sidewinder unit, right? And emailed the factory and was like, okay, waiting time is about 8 months or something like that. Trying to source a secondhand unit. Asked a friend in Kotao if he would sell his unit, and all that. And then anyway, so I did and then like just a week later, I did the Choctama course with Paul, and then on the same day, he's like, oh, so what do you think? I'm like, it's not the easiest unit to dive with, but I'm getting the hang of it. And then by the third day, I was like, okay, nice, I'm getting there, and I like the versatility of the Choctama, and that I can just basically remove it off my chest and from one dive to another and go, okay, I don't want to dive CCR on the next dive, I'll just remove it. I don't have to take off my harness, my side mount harness or whatever else I have on. I just remove the and he said, yeah, okay, if you want, how much is the unit? And he's like, okay, if you want, I'll just call up Florida, call up Lamar in Florida and order one for you. And he's like, and I'm like, okay. So I just made the decision, okay, let's go for it. So within like that same evening, I got an email from the owner of Dive Right,
yeah.
his rather his wife. the owner's wife, saying, okay, I heard you want to buy a unit, this is how much it's going to cost, blah, 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 and all that. And then even before I even transferred the money, she had already shipped it out.
Wow.
And I only made the transfer like 3 days later or something. And I got the unit a week later, 10 days later. Yeah. So I've been diving the Choptima since, although I haven't done so in the last, 4 or 5 months. I haven't done CCR diving. I am dying to.
Come on, jump in.
I'm dying to. Yeah, yeah. I just I've been busy with my IDCs and and all that. I'm dying to get in the water with it again for sure.
Hey, what is this Avelo Unveiled event that is generating quite a bit of a buzz?
Okay, so Avelo is basically this new system that is it kind of what it does is it takes a different approach to buoyancy control, right? It eliminates the need for a BCD in the water and weight. So you don't need to have weight. You don't need a BCD. So
Okay.
it just comes with what they call a jetpack.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a jetpack. A jetpack is kind of like a backplate with it's just a backplate with webbing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the hydro tank. It's called the hydro tank because basically how the buoyancy works is that so when you're on the surface, the tank is so light and in that it keeps you buoyant on the surface. So you're floating on the surface, and then when you wanna descend for a dive, so you basically um, add water into the tank. So there's this button that you press where you add water, and then it becomes negatively buoyant to the point where so you add water, and then until the point where you feel you're neutrally buoyant, right? And then you stop pumping the water. Once you're neutrally buoyant, you're basically neutrally buoyant for the next 20 minutes or so without, even when you change depth, it keeps you neutrally buoyant.
Okay.
And then you ascend and descend without feeling like you have to vent out air or put in air or whatever. And then after about 20-25 minutes, you need to pump in a little bit more water because it replaces the so basically the water replaces the gas that you've consumed throughout the dive. So you have to put in a bit more water to keep the neutral buoyancy.
So basically, the jetpack is something like a submarine
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
venting out and putting into the ballast.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I've seen a few like adverts coming up
Right.
about that.
So this Avelo thing is actually my business partner's brainchild, right? So it was his idea to contact the CEO of Avelo, try and be the first ones in Asia Pacific, in Southeast Asia, basically to bring it in. So no one in Southeast Asia has brought it in yet. So we're the first one to do so. And the plan is basically to create enough of a buzz that we can eventually become a hub for Southeast Asia and then become also a pro training center. So be able to train the pro level, so instructors in Avelo as well. So I'm doing my pro level course next month to become an instructor for the unit, and then maybe later on in the year I might move on to become an instructor trainer. So that's the plan.
And what is the event going to be about?
So the event is basically so we're introducing the system at Mighty. We're actually also going to be at TDEX next week, but we won't have a booth. So we're just gonna. So Avelo, I think, has a booth at TDEX. I'm not sure, but at Mighty, we as a dive center will be having a booth and showcasing Avelo. It's basically so immediately after Mighty, we'll have an event on Perhentian where we're training the Avelo divers. So it's called Rad Divers. So recreational Avelo diver. Yeah, they're called Rad Divers. So we'll be training. We're having like three Rad courses back to back, and we train. Yeah, basically we're trying to get people to to come and try it out, do the first level course. It's kind of like, think of it as a specialty, right? So it's like a specialty on top. So you need to be a certified diver first, and it's a specialty, but not a PADI specialty. It's its own agency thing. And then and then a week later there'll be the pro level course, and then there's also the technician's course. So anybody in the region who wants to become an instructor for this unit can come and attend the event and do it. So it's basically we've got the CEO of the company coming, and also with so Avelo has a partnership with Shearwater
All right.
Computers in that their controller uses Shearwater. I think via the Swift transmitter system. And so part of the deal we have with Avelo is we also become Shearwater dealers, so which is a good thing, which is a great thing. I love, I'm me being in tech diving, cave diving. I have great interest in Shearwater computers, and I have a lot of contacts. So being a Shearwater distributor dealer is a very nice position to be in as well.
Yeah, I love the Shearwater. They sponsored me
Right.
for the 50-hour dive, and
Oh yeah.
I've been using even before that. Yeah.
I was reading about that. Yes, I didn't realize it was you. uh, no, I just saw today on your podcast bio that, yeah, and
Okay.
I read about it obviously a few years ago. And when did you do that again?
2022 February.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, 50 hours, huh? Wow.
Yeah, was fun. Really interesting.
Yeah. Did you stop to eat, or did you come up to eat or not?
No. I was underwater.
Or did you eat underwater?
I didn't eat anything, but I was on a liquid diet,
Okay.
so a lot of fluid. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Did you fall asleep at all underwater?
I did sleep for a few hours because I was on the ocean reef full face mask. So
Right. Okay. So
yeah,
you did sleep.
yeah, yeah. I did snow
Wow.
apparently
Okay.
as well at one point. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was interesting. Yeah, shearwaters I've been using since 2014.
Yeah.
So I mean they are pretty good. I just love them.
Yeah. Yeah. I just bought myself a Perdix 2. Uh,
Okay.
I'm gonna sell off my AI and get an additional Perdix 2. So I want to get another one.
Yeah, always good to have a backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And reflecting on your journey, what has been the most rewarding aspect of running anti-gravity?
Running a dive center, I mean, I can tell you my personal journey what's been the most rewarding, but in terms of running a dive center, rewarding journey as a dive center, I would say, I think this year I feel the most rewarding
Yeah.
because I feel that this is the first year since COVID that we have come back strong.
Okay.
Basically, we were very, like, I felt like, in 2019 before COVID, we had a very good year and it was only going to get better. And then COVID came about, and then now I feel that we have got that momentum back. Like, we're having a fair amount of dive master candidates, who then feed into our IDCs, and then we've got this Avelo thing coming out, and then the fact that I've made all my staff side mount divers and they're diving side mount. For me, like, like when I get a lot of people asking me, hey, like, if I want to be a side mount instructor, what are the prerequisites? And I'm like, well, you can technically self-certify to become a side mount instructor after you have logged 50 dives. I mean, I don't agree with this at all, for sure. And I make it a, like, my staff especially, like, you want to become a side mount instructor, you make sure you dive side mount all the time. Like,
Yeah.
don't just dive back mount and then once in a while dive side mount configuration. And then so you want to teach side mount, you become a side mount diver. And it's not about the number of dives that you do. I don't care how many dives you have in side mount, but you need to be able to demonstrate that you're able to, you have a full understanding of how it works and how to, for example, set up a harness properly, how to teach someone to rig their tanks, how to rig, like what's the right height for your tank bands to be, and how to achieve proper tank trim underwater, that kind of thing. So these are things they have to demonstrate. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Before I will even consider signing them off as instructors.
Yeah, I've seen a few just becoming side mount instructors right after their IDC because it's part of the specialty.
Correct.
And then I see them in the water and I was like, ah,
I know.
not so good.
I mean, we can talk about this all day, right?
Oh, yeah, I know.
But I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the aspirations for the future of anti-gravity divers and the diving community in Malaysia?
Diving community in Malaysia. For me personally, I kind of treat anti-gravity and me as two separate entities. I'm trying to promote myself as a course director, as a trainer, also with my company. Yeah, sure. But I treat them as two separate entities. So for anti-gravity, yeah, this Avelo thing is I think a future for us, and I hope to see it grow. I hope to see us being a hub. I'm very looking forward to dive system taking off. Fingers crossed it does.
Hmm.
I want to start doing tech training with through anti-gravity, so increasing the also our profile as an instructor training facility. And on the personal level, I'm also exploring caves in Malaysia, right? And I've been going around the basically the middle part of Malaysia, right in the center of Malaysia in the jungle. There's this whole area called Merapo. It's karst rich, right? And it's very popular with cavers and rock climbers, but nobody has really checked out the potential for cave diving there. And so I've spent the last 4 years, actually, since three and a half years, going there. So I've done maybe about four recce trips there, and so far I've come across one very promising lead that I still actually haven't dived because mentally I've not been prepared for it. I have to bring a team with me, right?
Yeah.
Proper team with logistics and everything, and then yeah. So I could have done it, but it's just I'm also I'm very scared of. I'll tell you what I'm scared of, right? I'm very scared of snakes.
Yeah. Okay.
And this area going in that hole just looks like there's gonna be.
A lot of them around.
Yeah, I had this last year in Satun when I was doing when I was on one of the trips with Nico. I was diving with Max, the photographer in the team, and I came across this massive python wedged on a rock, and I did the quickest. Max would describe it as the fastest backfin he ever saw.
That would have been a sight to see.
So yeah, so I am quite terrified of snakes. On the other hand, if I know there's a team around and I'm well equipped, I'm head to toe, I've got a hoodie on, so I'm a little bit less frightened. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
Hey, Anand, one last question.
yeah.
What's your advice for future dive instructors?
Future dive instructors, okay. I would say be hungry for knowledge. Always question what you learn, because I can tell you, like, I won't say misinformation, but there's a lot of lack of information that goes into dive training. When I receive people in my IDCs, I see a lot of lacking in dive training. Like, I'll give you an example. It's like just knowing how to appropriately weight yourself is a skill that is very much lacking amongst instructor candidates coming into my IDC. I'm finding I'm having to teach it to them, like from scratch, like really teach it from them, because and then my experiences with them is like, okay, but we never really learned how to do this. I'm like, well, and then I show them the standards, and I'm like, look, in confined water, it appears like 4 times that you have to do a buoyancy check. Now, if something appears 4 times, you not think that it's an important skill to learn. Yeah, so this is one of the biggest problems. Weighting or knowing how to appropriately weight yourself is a skill very much lacking among, I would say, in the dive industry in general, or the dive industry I'm exposed to anyway. Maybe that's why there's a lot of PADI bashing going on, because I feel like there's a bubble in training. There's like these open water divers that are being trained, not knowing how to, or maybe just doing it once or twice during the course, but then after that they never remember how to do a weight check. They go on to become dive masters, who then they have to demonstrate the skill of neutral buoyancy, but they're taught how to cheat to do that skill,
Yeah.
like how to not fully deflate their VCD, for example, to actually float at eye level. What are they actually learning there? They're actually learning nothing. So by the time they come to the instructor course, I'm like, okay, do a proper weight check. And then I see guys like half deflating their BCD. I'm like, no, that's not how you do a weight check. Fully deflate your BCD now. And then they're dropping like a rock. I feel like it's like a bubble, like this skill is being glossed over very much so in many IDCs I've assisted on over the years. And no disrespect to the people that I've assisted on, because these guys are amazing, right? But yeah, I feel like this is the one skill that needs to be stressed upon. So that, and always be hungry for knowledge, always question, information, always have reasons why you're doing something. Don't take everything at face value. Always have a reason why. Always know the reason why you're teaching something or you're learning something.
That's good advice, Anand. And thank you for sharing your incredible journey and insights with us. And it's evident that AntiGravity Divers is more than just a dive center. It's a hub for education and innovation.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And for our listeners eager to explore the underwater wonders of Perhentian Islands or to participate in the upcoming Avelo Unveiled event, please visit antigravitydiving.com or pop by their booth at the Malaysia International Dive Expo. And anything you want to say before you leave, Anand?
Come, those of you in Malaysia, I don't know when this is actually going to be released, but we're going to have a booth at MIDI, which is on the 13th of June, I believe. Come and visit us at our booth and find out more about the Avelo system.
The Malaysia International Dive Expo MIDI is happening from June 13th to 15th at MITEC Kuala Lumpur. And it's a fantastic opportunity to connect with anti-gravity diving and have a talk with Anand as well if you are interested in becoming a dive master, instructor, or even do your open water course. Thank you so much, Anand.
Thank you for having me on, Shaff. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. And until next time, keep exploring and dive safe.
Okay. Good night.